There is a snowstorm that is going to hit the East Coast either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, so by the time you're watching this video, I could very well be dead and buried under piles of snow. I just thought you guys should know that. And on that positive note, let's get started. First on the list we have Patrick Rothfuss's The Name of the Wind, which is the first book in the Kingkiller Chronicles, which a lot of people have read on BookTube. It's probably one of the most hyped fantasy series on BookTube. I bought this last year, wanted to read it last year, didn't have the time, but this year is going to be the year. Next on the list we have Margot Lanigan's Tender Morsels, which was a gift from Bree. Her channel's called Bree May, and I met up with her in Seattle last October. We went to a bookstore, we hung out a little bit. This is a book that she gave me as a gift. I just haven't had a chance to read it yet, and I feel really guilty about it because when someone gives you a book as a gift, you need to read it, like, immediately. I don't know anything about this book besides that it is inspired by fairy tales, I believe, and it seems like there is some bestiality aspect, which could be hit or miss, but I'm hoping it's a hit. We'll see. Next is one of the most hyped books of 2016 that I just didn't read because I am a butt, and that is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, which I'm really excited to read. I know lots of things about this, although I thankfully don't know any of the spoilers, if there are spoilers. I haven't been spoiled. I loved the Grisha trilogy, and I know this is set in the same universe with different characters, so I think there's a very high chance that I'm going to enjoy this book as well. Next on the list is Fates and Furies by Lauren Groff, which again is a beautiful book. Many of these books I bought because of their covers, which is not a good reason to buy a book, but hey, you can't stop me, can you? Last year I read Lauren Groff's first book, which is called The Monsters of Templeton, and I really liked it, but I didn't fall in love with the characters or the setting or the writing or anything. So as this is her second book, I feel like there is a lot of potential here for improvements as an author and as a storyteller, so I'm really excited to finish this one and see what I think of it. Next is a book that I don't know how I haven't read yet. I bought it last year because the hype was so incredibly strong, and I fully intend to read it. I just didn't get to it last year. That book is Uprooted by Naomi Novik, which is possibly the buzziest book of 2015. Don't even try to sell me on this book because you don't have to. I bought it because it sounds like a fantastic book. I know it will be. I've heard only positive things about it. I just haven't gotten to it for some nefarious reason. 2016, I'm definitely gonna read it, and I'm sure I'm gonna like it. Next on the list we have a book that I'm not excited to read, but I will be excited to finish it, and that is Herman Melville's Moby Dick. The whole putting books down thing and coming back to them later has just never worked for me, and I made a mistake when I did that with this book last year. I never wanted to come back to it. I wanted to bury it deep beneath the earth. Frankly, I'm surprised I didn't do that. I was in such a good mood until I started talking about Moby Dick, and now I feel like I have fallen into a deep, dark well. That doesn't bode well for me finishing this book, but I'm gonna do it. Next, we have Erica Swyler's The Book of Speculation, which was a gift from a friend, and it's autographed. That's pretty cool. I think this is about mermaids and a family that lives near the ocean, and there's some curse, supposedly, on the family. I don't really know much else besides that, but it sounds poetic, it sounds like a fairy tale, it sounds atmospheric, shall we say. So I'm excited to read this, and I do think I'm gonna like it, although I haven't heard many things about it. The theme of today's list, one of them, seems to be that I just didn't have a lot of time to read books last year because being an adult sucks. And one of the books that I didn't have time to read last year was All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. For some reason I don't have a huge desire to read this book anytime soon. I've heard a lot of great things about it, obviously, but I know it's going to be made into a movie at some point in the future, so the buzz is guaranteed to rise again around this book and the story, so I feel like it's okay to put it off for now. But I know that when the day comes, when I read this book, I'm going to love it, and you will hear me screaming about how much I love this book, so look forward to that day as much as I do. Next we have The Amazing Adventures of Kavalier and Clay by Michael Chabon, which was totally on a TBR last year, which shows you how ineffective they are for me because I just don't read the books that I say I'm gonna read. I'm excited to read this one because it's going to be a lot different from the other Michael Chabon books that I've read, which are all set in Pittsburgh in the present day-ish, and this is in New York City. It's about two comic book designers. It's going to be a pretty wildly different story, so I am very excited to read this, and I think I'm really going to like it. Finally, we have Hanya Yanagihara's A Little Life. It is quite possibly the book that I'm saddest I did not read last year because I really felt such a strong need to read this book. I think it's going to be a really eye-opening and emotionally educational book for me. And I think I've also known for a while that this book is really going to affect me. I just have a feeling about this book. It's going to break my heart. But winter seems like an appropriate time for heartbreak, so I will read it very soon and cry into the snow. One of the big booktubing trends of 2016 appears to be that people are no longer using TBRs, and I am completely in favor of that. I think TBRs are a waste of my time because I never read the books that I say I'm going to read on the TBRs, so what is the point? In the comments below, feel free to give me your thoughts on TBRs, whether or not you guys use them, if you you find them to be helpful, or if you just end up reading completely different books than the books that are on your TBR. Also, let me know if you've read any of the books that are on this TBR. I am excited to read all of them. I'm definitely going to read them all, but I'm also excited to hear what you guys have to say about them and help find the motivation for me to read them myself. So that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys have a great week. I'm going to go pretend to read, but inevitably not read Moby Dick. So that's going to be my day.